Hi, I'm really excited to play this game. Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why, chat? You want to know why, chat? Do you want to know why? Because I'm in it. I'm in it and I'm very excited about that. I don't often get to play games that I am in. I think the last time I played a game that I was in was Monster Prom, and even then, you don't hear me very often in that game. Well, I guess you kind of do now, since I picked up 2 other characters. But, this is, I guess, if you exclude Monster Prom, I guess Sprint Vector is really the last game I played that I'm in. So, and I have a lot more dialogue in this one. So, there is sort of, how do I say this? Sort of a problem here. Because this is a mystery game, right? This is a, this is a game where you have to solve the murders. But I already know the solutions because I recorded them. Well, the first one at least. And I'll tell you why more later, but I kind of know what the problem of the first one is. So, yeah, so, but the second one and the third one, I believe, are going to be tougher because I didn't record as much for those. So I kind of know what goes on in the second one and the third one. Like, I know the course of events, but I don't necessarily know the solution. But we'll take it as it comes, right? Right, chat? Are you with me? I'm actually very excited for this. I'm very much looking forward to this. But I am one of the key witnesses in the first case. And I am, well, I'm other things too, but, let's get it started. 100 years without murder, 100 years without demonic possession. Then this. I am Sister Ada, exorcist and investigator. This is my testament to the massacre at St. Walpurga's Abbey. That's named after Walpurgisnacht, which I believe is something important. Hold on. Walpurgisnacht. Mark Wahlberg Abbey, right. Friday, April 30th. Walpurgisnacht is an abbreviation of St. Walpurgis Night, which is known as Walpurgis Eve, is the eve of the Christian feast of the day of St. Walpurga. What did he do? Who was St. Walpurga? And what did he do? Was an Anglo-Saxon missionary to the Frankish Empire. She was canonized on the 1st of May by Pope Adrian II, St. Walpurgisnacht. But what did she do? Did she do something special? What was she the patron saint of? The Brazilian Knight. Wow, that's an ancient meme. Did she do something particularly canonization worthy? Mail Malay, thank you for the bits. And Carla Driver, thank you for the bits. I appreciate that. Introduced Christianity to the Franks with May Day. Religious career. Well, I don't know what she did. Anyway, I thought I was learning. I got a little lost in the weeds there. It is truth. Do not believe the lies of my accusers. Uh-oh. St. Walpurga's Abbey. Cybernetics Workshop.
Sister Ada, welcome.
Ooh. Oh, I auditioned for this guy, but this, I read for this guy because they didn't have anybody for him. Okay, how much behind the scenes do you want for this, chat? How much behind the scenes? Do you want all of it? Okay, cool. So, I read for this guy. But they didn't, like... So, okay, so I'll say this. Everything I read was self-directed. But that'll come into play later.
I am Virgil.
This guy's voice is way better than the one I picked.
Abbey. We may be in need of your talents as an exorcist. You can survey the evidence yourself, but I think you will agree.
Has there truly been a murder?
It seems so. A respected priestess, Mother Miriam, passed this morning under suspicious circumstances.
Suspicious circumstances? I wonder what they are.
Here, even now, possessing someone.
If Lucifer is hot, I know you've said it like 5 times, Senri Dragon. Just wait.
What happened exactly?
Mother Miriam was only recently appointed as successor to Abbot Gregory. This
Uh-oh.
morning, she came to the workshop to receive her coronet of office.
Something went wrong with the installation.
Yes, to put it mildly, the coronet oversurged, killing Mother Miriam. Brace yourself for the sight.
Uh-oh.
And the workshop operators, Gideon and Reuben, are the prime suspects. They are brothers, right?
Yes, but it's highly out of character for Gideon or Reuben to kill someone.
As far as you know. That's not a spoiler.
Even so, they were the only ones present when Mother Miriam died.
Daemons nurture our sinful desires into unthinkable actions, Virgil.
Yeah, they're like bad computer viruses.
One of the brothers has surely been seduced by a daemon.
A daemon? From, his Dark Materials?
Whichever it is, I will unmask his lies and cast out the daemon within him.
May Einsoft's will be done. Amen.
Amen!
To exorcise a daemon, we must uncover 4 things. First, the suspect. We must identify which sinner is possessed by a daemon.
I wonder who that could be.
Second, the opportunity. When
That'll be
exactly was
$4,
the murder
baby!
committed?
You want fries with that?
Congrats, Octo, on this and Monster Camp.
Popple, thank you for the 400 bits. I appreciate that. And thanks for the congratulations. I'm really excited about both of them. Yeah, another trailer for Monster Camp dropped today. Yeah, which I was really proud of that read, by the way.
We can pinpoint the opportunity by analyzing each suspect's testimonies. Third, the means by which the murder has been committed. The means can be found among the physical evidence at the scene of the incident.
So we need a suspect, we need means,
Fourth,
a
the
motive, of
the
course.
murderer, which can be found in their inner world, their sanctum.
Their palace, if you will.
The motive will tell us which daemon possesses the sinner.
Very well. Let us begin our holy work.
Amen. Okay, so let's look at... Well, that's me, but I don't want to talk to me yet. This one right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. That's me. That's Reuben. Okay, so let's take a look at the Mother Miriam's body. Mother Miriam's body, a valuable piece of physical evidence. New entry is added to your evidence panel, which can be found on the lower left of your display, which is down here. You can access detailed information about Mother Miriam's body. You must present them to the suspects in order to discover any contradictions. Body is completely unharmed, but her head has exploded into a mess of blood and bone fragments. Ew! Found your Mother Miriam's body. Parts of the amplifier component and bits of the casing have survived the explosion. Examine. Control panel. New piece of evidence. Let's examine it now. Used to activate and control the consecration chamber. Usage records show that the aether output during the ceremony was well beyond safe ranges. Uh-oh! Door button. Used to open and close the consecration chamber. Only openable from outside the chamber. That doesn't sound very safe. Why would you have a chamber? Listen, I'm not going to knock the architects of this place, but why would you have a chamber, right? I'm very happy for your voice acting success. I hope things keep getting better and better for you. You're a wonderful, talented human being. You deserve success. I believe in you. Thanks, a friendly visiting cat. That's very friendly of you. A visiting cat. Usage records show that it was opened twice this morning. That's probably important. Got any link for them to buy the game? Ooh, good point. Hold on. Ooh, it's 10% off right now. Yeah, there it is. Squiffer Brains posted it. You can get it on Steam. Let's see. But yeah, used to open and close the consecration chamber. Only operable from outside the chamber. Usage records show that it was open twice. Okay, so it's open twice. That's probably important to remember. And then what's this? Gideon's workstation. Consecration ceremony. Place the coronet and the recipient in the chamber. The performer and the recipient pray in silence. Begin the song to start modulating the aether. Intensify the aether output by bringing the performance to a crescendo. Okay, and then, ooh, what's this? Coronet limiter. Found in Gideon's workspace in pristine condition. Component is required to safely install the coronet without causing an aether oversurge. Okay, so she got aether injected into her brain. Ruben's workstation. Plans for constructing the aether coronet. The purpose of the device seems to be to amplify the user's aether output. Oh wow, this is like some Final Fantasy XIV aether. It does everything. Components are amplifier, casing, and limiter. Amplifier and casing, but no limiter. So the limiter was taken out. Let's talk to Ruben.
An exorcist? Surely there are no demons here, though. This was an accident, wasn't it?
Of course! A terrible, terrible
If
accident.
Gideon is possessed, that would mean he did it on purpose. Horrible.
You must be the elder brother.
Yes, my name is Ruben Garamond. I am responsible for the engineering and design of our implants.
How did Mother Miriam die, exactly?
It
Well,
was a
her
completely
head exploded.
preventable
For lack of a,
accident.
more refined way of saying it.
Mother Miriam died because Gideon deliberately flouted the ceremonial guidelines for his own glory.
My own glory?
Gideon
What?
may
I
be
mean,
my
his
flesh
own
and
glory.
blood, but he must take responsibility for his negligence.
Mr. Ada, hear Ruben's testimony and judge for yourself whether he speaks the truth or lies. The testimony of a subject is divided into events. You can access detailed descriptions of events by hovering over them. You can manipulate timeline marker to navigate any moment in the testimony. This is actually really cool. You get to, like... So, you know in Phoenix Wright how you have to, like, sequentially listen to the testimony? In this one, you can scrub the timeline. Let's listen to what Ruben has to say.
Mother Miriam came to us to receive a consecration ceremony, but she wanted something extravagant. Gideon suggested setting the coronet to have maximum ether output. I warned him that doing so is highly dangerous.
So dangerous.
Gideon convinced her to move forward with the ceremony anyway. Since he was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Oh, he's just doing tasks. I don't know, that's kind of sus. This part of the testimony is rather long and repetitive. Let's move ahead to the next session. Try and stop ceremony.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong. I begged Gideon to stop, but he didn't listen.
Think he's just gonna fucking stop just because you tell him to? He's a genius! Wow. Heard enough. Let's leave him for now. Okay, so Miriam dies. Okay, so basically, Miriam came in, said, I want a crazy ceremony. Ruben then did nothing. He was doing tasks the whole time, then tried to stop the ceremony. Okay, so we talked to Ruben. Now let's talk to this guy.
This is madness! I will not suffer this injustice!
That's me! That's me! I said that line. I remember when I said that line. Okay, so, I didn't know that this line and the next line were linked. I would have done the next line differently had I known that.
I am Gideon the Grand, the greatest cybernetician of our generation.
I wish I would have said that a little more frantically. I wish I would have said, I'm Gideon the Grand, the greatest cybernetician of our generation! Because I didn't know that those two were connected. But otherwise, that's the only change that I listened to and would have changed. Because he says he won't suffer this injustice, and then this is a little too hoity-toity. This was self-direct. Well, I didn't have context for that.
I am blessed. I don't know what went wrong this morning. My hands are guided by the divine.
I see only gaudy trinkets here.
Hey, listen, lady. They're not easy. You think they're gaudy trinkets? You fucking make them.
Mother Miriam died by your hands. Is that not so?
No, I would never harm her. Besides, why would I? She was my patron. In her kindness and generosity, she truly was like a mother to me. And I like her son, you know, aside from my real parents. I did nothing wrong. The consecration chamber must have been compromised. Let's hear what Gideon has to say. Keep in mind that Gideon's testimony may differ greatly from Ruben's version of events. If an event is corroborated by another subject's testimony, it may be marked as verified on the timeline. Okay, so let's listen to what Gideon has to say.
Mother Miriam came to me for her consecration ceremony. I've performed this many times before, so I was confident.
It's true, I was. Okay, so... Wait a second. Okay, this is already... Wait. But... Didn't... Okay, hang on.
To prepare for the ceremony, I ordered Reuben to take Mother Miriam to the consecration chamber.
But there's already a contradiction. Because he said that they were talking together.
I adjusted the coronet's amplification.
Wait a second. To examine what he said about Miriam's arrival. Yeah. Interesting. Gideon does not mention Reuben being present while greeting Mother Miriam. Yeah, that's right. That's an objection.
Mother Miriam came to me for her consecration ceremony.
Good. I should remember that's, I can ask the suspect about any statement in a testimony. Yeah, that's a big objection. Were you alone in greeting Mother Miriam? He insists, yes, I'm certain I was alone then. Wonder if Reuben will corroborate this. Let's finish the rest of the testimony. Okay, here we go.
To prepare for the ceremony, I ordered Reuben to take Mother Miriam to the consecration chamber.
So, Reuben put her in. Listen,
I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head.
So, it's funny because I'm trying to pretend like I don't know what happened here, even though I recorded all of this. It's about the journey, right, chat? Okay, so there's the coronet. And I put it on the work table. Adjust coronet. Yeah, trust no one, not even yourself. Fine, so we'll go here.
We began by closing our eyes and praying together to Ein Sof. I thought I heard the chamber open, but didn't think much of it.
I could have done a better read on that. Okay.
Then I activated the consecration chamber and began the ceremony itself. The aether output was...
Can I turn the game up a little bit? Sure. I just didn't want it to be like blow out your ears loud, because sometimes games can be like that.
Within safe ranges.
Oh, I don't like that.
We began by closing our eyes and praying together to Ein. Then I activated the consecration chamber and began the ceremony itself. The aether output was within safe ranges.
I don't like that read. I don't like that read. I would have done that. I should have done that differently. Ah, okay. I can't criticize myself. It's fine. It's fine. I printed it. Okay, but see here. Oh, he did try to stop. Okay, so he did do that. What's up, Romanity? How's it going? Okay, so this is corroborated. Let's leave him for now. Okay. There's some differences. Now that I have the testimony from each suspect, let's think carefully. There's only one truth to the chain of events of this morning, and I doubt that either brother has told it to him. We must rely on Ein Sof's greatest gift to us. Our minds! Our guns! There are three ways we should consider what we've discovered. First way is deduction. Since there's only one truth, if two things don't align, one or both of them are false. If Gideon and Reuben do not agree on something, someone is lying. Or, if what they say do not match the events I find, then they must be lying. Second is induction. I should base my theory based on what I discover. If my theory does not align with any of the testimonies or evidence that I find, then I should discard it. If two theories are both possible, then I should prefer the one that has more information that supports it. Wait, what? Sorry, I tuned out there for a second. If two theories are both possible, then I should prefer the one that has more information that supports it. That said, induction alone is usually not enough. Abduction. I must hypothesize what could have happened, filling gaps in information with my imagination. This is the fastest and most powerful way of thinking, but also the most fraught. I should engage in each of the three ways in order to uncover the truth. I'm sorry, what? Found in Reuben's workstation. Plan for restoring a relic that was recently brought to St. Walpurgis by Father Augustine. Okay, so Miriam's arrival. Let's talk about Miriam's arrival. Now that I've discovered important pieces of evidence, let's ask the suspect about them. Let's select any evidence and ask him about it. The body's completely unharmed, but her head exploded. Good, I should remember that I can ask subject about any evidence that I find. That was never supposed to happen. I should do the voice. That was never supposed to happen! Mother Miriam. I'm so sorry. I can at least be comforted that her death was painless. I recorded this line! Huh, I guess they didn't use it. Hold on. Let's ask about this. Recognize this component, Gideon? It was found at your workstation. The coronet limiter! Impossible! But the explosion, how can it be undamaged? Someone must have removed it from the coronet prior to the ceremony. All but ensuring that the ceremony would end in a bloody mess. I had nothing to do with this! Why would I sabotage my own work? I recorded that too. Why indeed?
Mother Miriam came to me for her consecration ceremony. I've performed this many times before, so...
Let's got this. The door records show that the chamber was sealed during the ceremony. There you have it. Proof that the ceremony was performed flawlessly. Perhaps. What's curious is that the door was opened twice. The first time was when Reuben opened the chamber to let Mother Miriam in. The second time was just before the ceremony started, when you closed your eyes and prayed for guidance. With the one true God as my witness, I swear that is the truth. I kneeled and listened for his voice. Must have been Reuben who opened it, for some reason. He was always skittish about the slightest possibility of malfunction. I don't really recall what he did or said at this time. Okay, so let's ask Reuben about Miriam's arrival. Gideon didn't mention being there? Typical. That's important, though. You found it on Gideon's desk? It's no wonder that the coronet exploded. Imbecile must have forgotten to replace it after adjusting the coronet's amplification. Despicable. Okay, so then he returned to work. Curious, Reuben claims he went back to his workstation. What does Gideon say? Let's switch to his testimony.
To prepare for the...
Gideon claims that Reuben opened the door to the consecration chamber. Let's go back to Reuben.
Gideon convinced her to move forward with the ceremony anyway. Since he was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Objection! Oh, a lie unmasked. Reuben Garamond, you did not return to your workstation after the discussion. Gideon ordered you to open the consecration chamber for Mother Miriam. Ordered me? Is that what he told you? Despite his delusions, Gideon is certainly not my master. I did open the chamber, it's true. I apologize for the omission. It's a regular part of the routine that slipped my mind earlier. Reuben has amended his testimony. Let's examine open chamber. Good. The statement from Reuben's testimony is now verified for two reasons. 1. Corroboration. Gideon's testimony confirms that Reuben opened the door for Mother Miriam. 2. Specificity. It has a shorter time frame and describes a clearer set of events. I can assume that any verified statement like this is true. What's more, the contradiction weakened the suspect's resolve. His eye of providence glows, which allows me to enter his sanctum, the digital representation of his mind. Yo! We fucking Persona 5 boys! Let's use his third eye to enter his sanctum and see what truly motivates the suspect. Are you ready? Here we go! Psychlock! Open that shit up! Open that shit up! We only cracked out the outer layer of his sanctum this time. Now let's examine the psychological evidence that we found. Interesting. This information will help me discern which statements to trust. Let's quickly examine each statement in his testimony again. Open chamber. Turn to work. Wait, how do we... Oh, excellent. Some of these statements are now supported by the subject's psychology. Oh, but what does this mean? Faithful servant of Einstoff, or so he thinks. He knows that cybernetics are a critical part of the one truth. Excellent. Some of the statements are now supported by psychology. Next, I find correlations between the subject's behavior and existing demons. Let's open up demonology. You know it's demonology with the G-I-E because it was fancy. Lothan the Envious. Playful but deceitful demon who slowly drives the host mad with whispers of their own inadequacy. The host blames others for their ill fortune, and apparent injustice drives them to take
Duel. All or nothing.
Simmering rage of the host.
Octodab.
Hey, Avi! Thank you for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Evil-minded demon debilitates the host, turning them into feral beasts. The host is compelled to consume stranger and filthier things until nothing remains of their humanity. Ambitious and strong-willed. I wonder who it could be. I know who it is. Because spoiler. Hey, you guys want to know a little spoiler? Do you guys want to know a little behind-the-scenes thing? I'm all of these guys. I'm this demon, and I'm this demon. I recorded for all of those. So I know which demon it is, so it's not like it's a surprise to me. But I am all three of these demons. The suspect is possessed. There should be a psychological evidence that is a clear correlation with the demon. To further obtain psychological evidence, I must find more contradictions and present them to this. Now that I've heard the testimony and gathered evidence, I accuse the suspect. J'accuse! To accuse the suspect, I must establish the Oh, hey, what's up, baby? Oh, that's okay. What happened? Yeah. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah, he was really great. Oh, did they just like pack it up somewhere else?
Duel. All or nothing.
Okay. Right.
Amy, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I know they're at last. I'll check. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I would ask.
Yeah.
And
If you're gonna spend that much money at a place, I don't know why he would be a jerk to you.
yes, the other guy.
Yeah. I like that guy that helped us last time. Just let me know how much this was with him. Like, we have fun, then I won't give you money.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, how are you guys?
Yeah.
I looked at the guy and I was like, I'm gonna
That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. That sucks, babe. That's cool. So Ash wanted to buy this figure from a comic shop, but the person who was like helping her was just like being really lazy about selling it to her. Like they didn't want to take it down, and it's like an expensive figure. It's like a really expensive figure, and she really wanted it, but she was like, I guess they were being a huge jerk. Yeah, so wasn't it like 1.4K? Something like that. It was a really nice Batman figure that she liked. I know, it's fucked up, which sucks because I really like that store because they have a lot of magic cards, but you know, it's whatever. Anyway, So, opportunity. Let's present the section of the subject's testimony. Here? Good. If it's a valid answer, the subject will be forced to admit that they could have committed the murder at that time. Otherwise, the subject will give counter-argument as to why that's impossible. If I sabotaged something in the chamber, then Gideon would have seen it if he brought the coronet. During the ceremony, no one is inside the chamber other than Mother Miriam. Let's try to establish the means. Present physical evidence. Gideon was the one who operated the device. How could I have affected the chamber or Mother Miriam? Found in Gideon's workspace in pristine condition. Same as before, the subject will accept my evidence if it's valid. Deny it if they can explain why I'm wrong. Because they figured no one will buy it. But that doesn't make sense to me. Hang on, I gotta move my mouse because this is really... that doesn't make any sense to me, because, like, wouldn't you want people to buy it? You know? Wouldn't you be excited if people were, you know, spending a bunch of money at your local comic shop? There was nothing faulty with the coronet itself. Indeed, the craftsmanship was flawless, as was Gideon's performance of the ceremony. But you removed the limiter from the coronet without Gideon's knowledge, which, coupled with the coronet's high amplification, caused an oversurge. Gideon's arrogance may have endangered Mother Miriam. Finally, let's establish the motive. I present psychological evidence from their own sanctum. If he's the culprit presented with the... Yeah, okay. If not, he will deny my claim. Your faith is what drove you to kill Mother Miriam. Why would you think so? If anything, my faith is proof that I would not have hurt a high priestess. Why would I want to harm her? It means I must investigate further. Okay, so... let's cancel for now and leave the suspect. Okay, so we have the means, but we don't have the motive. Wait, what's the other thing we need?
They decided to perform the ceremony anyway. I opened the consecration chamber, while Gideon brought the coronet. Since Gideon was...
What were you working on? I was destroying a ceremonial spear for tonight's mass. Magnificent relic. I think Abbot Gregory will be pleased with the result. So...
Duel 2. All or nothing.
Magic in the Dark. Thank you for the 8 months. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Adjust coronet. Means, motive, and opportunity. Right. Doesn't mean anything. He could have imagined it. Hold on. Do not follow your logic. Okay, hold on. Thus, Gideon is my delusional younger brother. He seems to believe fame equates to talent. I'm ashamed of his recklessness today and furious that Mother Miriam would pay the price for it. Okay, so let's talk to me again.
Mother,
Did Ruben return to work? I have no idea. That's not important here anyhow.
meanwhile,
Okay, this feels like it's important. What exactly did you modify? I modified the amplifier within its maximum setting. To do so, I had to temporarily remove the limiter. But I made sure to replace it before taking it to the chamber. Okay, so... he took out the limiter and then put it back. And then put it on.
we began by closing our eyes and praying together to Ein Sof. I thought I heard the chamber open, but didn't think much of it.
So why did the chamber open here? You heard the door open? Perhaps. I think I also heard footsteps, but it's faint, vague memory, not to mention it's impossible. Mother Miriam can't open the door from within. Ruben was probably working on some new device or another. Talk to you.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back.
Perform ceremony. The Aether output was most certainly not within safe ranges. He's lying.
When Gideon activated...
Why did you ask Gideon to stop? Why not force him? Couldn't you open the chamber and push Gideon aside? Interrupting the ceremony would have been more dangerous. Had I opened the chamber, the energy would have been let loose into the workshop. Had I pushed Gideon away, no one would have been controlling the energy gathered within the chamber. My action would have resulted in greater catastrophe. Okay, so now let's ask Gideon about him trying to stop the ceremony. I vaguely recall him coming up to me. I didn't hear him. I was too busy performing the ceremony. Gideon claims that the Aether output values are within safe ranges, but the control panel indicates otherwise. Uh-oh. You lied, Gideon. The ceremony wasn't safe. The control panel records showed the Aether output values were in abnormally high ranges. Of course it was. Mother Miriam wanted the coronet as powerful as it could be. But I am Gideon the Grand. With my talents, I had it under control. I made no errors. Something else went wrong. Just don't know what. Good. The statement from Gideon's testimony is now verified for 2 reasons. Specificity. It has a shorter time frame and describes a clearer set of events. Physicality. Gideon's testimony is now consistent with the records from the control panel. I can assume that any verified statement like this is true. So, let's look into his mind palace. Narcissist! I mean, okay, fine. Did you hear anything at this time? Come to think of it, I thought I heard someone behind me. I don't remember exactly. My mind was focusing on the ceremony.
The Aether out.
You now admitted the ceremony was risky. What makes you so confident that you maintain control? Because I'm a maestro. I remember every bit of my performance. Nothing that I did could have overcome the coronet limit.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber...
So what happened? Gideon still thinks he had things under control? He's delusional.
The Aether output was dangerously high, but I had the chamber under control.
That was a good read. That was a good read.
Then I rose up, opened my eyes, and approached the control panel. I was ready to begin.
I'm sorry. That was a good read.
The Aether output was dangerously high, but I had the chamber under control.
I did. Whoa! Who's that? Oh, this is him trying to stop the ceremony. Okay. Let's see.
With me, Mother Miriam came to me for her consecration.
Prime.
Were you alone
What a
in greeting
great
Mother
read.
Miriam? Yes, I'm certain I was alone. Okay, so...
Gideon suggested setting the coronet to have maximum
The
ether
spook!
output.
Thank
I
you for the
warned him
5
that
months.
Doing so is highly dangerous.
I do not follow your logic. Because he fucking says that he was alone. Wait, okay. Well, let's actually...
Mother Miriam came to me for a
contradict...
consecration ceremony. I've performed this many times before, so I was...
Hold on. Means motive. Okay, so we need to figure out... thanks, P. Wookie. I appreciate that. Mother Miriam came for me in her consecration ceremony. I've performed the ceremony many times. This is important because... Reuben says...
Gideon suggested setting the coronet to have max...
Mother Miriam came to me for her consecration ceremony.
There we go. Okay, you have to present it on Reuben's timeline. Reuben tells me he was with you when Mother Miriam arrived. What? Come to think of it, yes, he was standing there, scowling as usual. He was not standing there, he tried to stop you. Mother Miriam wanted her coronet to be extraordinary, so you convinced her to increase the Aether output. Reuben warned you about the danger, but you insisted to Mother Miriam that the ceremony was safe. I love my brother, but Reuben can be a sniveling coward. He's exaggerating the risk. Yes, the ceremony had some danger, however, it was well within my abilities. I made no error. This is how it happened. Okay, here we go.
Mother Miriam wanted the coronet to be spectacular, so I suggested maximizing its Aether amplification.
Here we go. Something new. What is it? Skeptic? Uh-oh. Interesting. He's a skeptic. Found in Gideon's sanctum. Speaks and acts virtuously in public, but doesn't really believe in the one truth or the daemons. Weren't they rooted out 100 years ago? Melmole, thank you for the bits. I'm a faithful member of the Abbey, but surely daemons are a thing of the past. There hasn't been a murder in 100 years, sister. Why would one happen now? I'm indeed talented and proud of it. Einsof granted me my gifts, and I gladly use them for his glory.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head.
Okay, so...
To prepare for the ceremony, I ordered Reuben to take Mother Miriam to the consecration chamber.
They went, and then let's see it from Reuben's perspective.
They decided to perform the ceremony anyway. I opened the consecration chamber, while Gideon brought the coronet. Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Performing tasks. Wait. Hold on here.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the... We began by closing our eyes and praying together to Einsof. I thought I heard the chamber open, but didn't think much of it.
So the chamber opened at this point, right? Maybe?
Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my task.
Okay. Hold on.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong. I begged Gideon to stop, but then the unthinkable happened. Mother Miriam was killed. This was no accident. It's all Gideon's fault. They decided to perform the ceremony anyway. Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head.
No, wait. Accused. You're the last person to handle the coronet. If the coronet was damaged during the events of this morning, it must have been while you were trying to adjust its output. He has no motive, though. Question the teaching of the church. You killed Mother Miriam because you have utter disdain for our faith. What nonsense. My skepticism merely serves my fuel for creativity. One must be open to all possibilities to create truly original works. It's not explaining why I wish to kill Mother Miriam in particular. Hey, thanks, Valen Gill. I appreciate that. Okay. Means, we definitely have the means. What means are you claiming that I killed her? Well, you were just in coronet, you removed the limiter. That's nonsense. Do you think I would forget to replace the crown jewel of my masterpiece? Yes. By what means are you claiming that I killed her? Open. I had it under control. Clearly not, given what happened. You could have stopped the ceremony, because I was confident I could do it safely. Motive. That's the problem, is he literally has no motive. Yeah. Let's go to Reuben.
Since Gideon was...
An opportunity. If it was in the chamber. What about Gideon and Mother Miriam were praying? I was still working at the time. Do I have proof of that? If I do, I should contradict him before I accuse him. During the ceremony, no one was inside the chamber other than Mother Miriam. Fine. I have proof that he wasn't? Okay. But I want to... I still don't think I have the evidence to accuse him of why he wanted to do it. The door was opened, and that's a means, but how do we prove that? Yeah.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head. We began by closing...
You thought you heard the door open. Perhaps I also heard footsteps, but it's faint. Okay, wait. Consecration serum. Place the coronet and the recipient in the chamber. Performer and the recipient pray in silence, in their song modulating the aether. Never mind. Okay, Wait.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Hey, what's up, Coben? How's it going? Okay, we still don't have the opportunity. I need to show him that he wasn't working, but we don't have a way of proving that.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head.
What exactly did you modify? Amplifier to its maximum setting, I had to remove the limiter. But I made sure to replace it before... contradict maybe the limiter? Because the limiter was on the table! Thanks! Hey, thank you, that COVID. I appreciate that. But I want to present him with that, because the limiter we know was on the table. We found it there. And we still don't have a motive. Everything you do feeds your pride. You, Mother Miriam, was a mere prop for your masterpiece. You carelessly caused her death in pursuit of artistic... How dare you! I took the utmost care in everything I did for Mother Miriam. Was designed to be worn by her. Without her, it will forever remain unperfect. I would never risk anything that could harm Mother Miriam. Okay.
Whip the aether out.
Didn't hear him as I was busy. Okay, that doesn't... Okay, so I feel like I have the contradiction, I just... don't know how to
Gideon was
do
going
it.
to handle everything,
Return to work. Believer. When could I have done this? During the ceremony, no one is inside the chamber other than Mother Miriam. What were you working on? I was destroying a ceremonial spear for tonight's mass. Okay, hold on. Excellent. I've gone through the fundamental steps of investigating a murder. However, there's much I have yet to uncover about this incident. Can you find more information, contact the subjects, and try and accuse the suspect? No one will tell me when I am ready to accuse. That is entirely up to my discretion. There are no consequences for a failed accusation. Each failure will help bring me closer to the truth of the incident. Okay, I think maybe... Okay, so we looked here. Thought maybe we could find this. Already recorded. Gideon's workstation. Did somebody open the... Can we look at the chamber? Any component of the coronet is missing that would suggest the incident was a sabotage. Can we look at the... Okay, so... Wait, let's try this again. Hey, what's up, Mr. Spacepan? How's it going? Okay.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table.
This. Oh, because it's missing! Wait. Accuse. Motive. Okay, hold on.
With the Aether out...
Makes you confident you maintain control. Because I'm a maestro. I remembered every bit of my... Contradict this? Beardman was working on the spear.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's
since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Oh, your logic. Because my thought process is, okay, well, he adjusted the coronet and he said... Wait, hold on.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification at my work table, and then placed it on Mother Miriam's head. We began by closing our eyes.
You heard the door open. Perhaps I think I also heard footsteps, but it's a vague memory, not to mention impossible. Controls? Okay.
The Aether output was dangerously high, but I had the chamber on... Meanwhile, I adjusted...
Temporarily removed the limiter. But I had to... Okay. This? Because there's fucking... The limiter's missing! Is there something that I have to, like... Is there something I have to, like, tick over? Mother Miriam's body. There must be something I'm not seeing exactly. Mother Miriam's body. What character am I? I'm Gideon. I'm this guy. But there's got to be this. The limiter, right? Component is required to safely install the coronet without causing an Aether oversurge.
With the Aether output was dangerously high.
Motive. Self-absorbed, man. Everything you do feeds into your pride. No, I can't. Because you can only use this unless I can contradict. I can't contradict to maintain control, though.
When Gideon activated the consecration chamber, I immediately felt something was wrong.
Present. Yeah, just give me a hint, because I'm a little stuck here on the first fucking case, because I'm dumb. Like, I know where it's going, I just don't know what the step they want me to do.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything,
like, obviously, I mean, I know what the ending is. It's like proofs. Oh boy, the one thing I was really, really, really bad at in geometry. I hated proofs. I was so bad at proofs. Maybe that's why this is so hard for me. There's a contradiction, return to work.
Meanwhile, I adjusted the coronet's amplification.
Since Gideon was going to handle everything, they decided to perform the ceremony anyway. I opened the consecration chamber, while Gideon brought the coronet. Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Okay. Contradictions. Contradict. Oh, wait a minute.
They decided to perform the ceremony anyway. I opened the... Since Gideon was going to handle everything, I went back to my tasks.
Oh, wait. Doesn't mean anything. No, wait. There we go. Because he would have been able to see the door open. Ah. Door records show the consecration door was opened twice today. Given that Gideon was praying during this time, only you could have opened the chamber. Drew, I opened the chamber again just before the ceremony started, but I had my reasons. Something about the chamber seemed unseemly. Well, what does that mean? Given what happened with Mother Miriam, I feel vindicated in my fears. Tell me, what did you do in the chamber? Here we go. Okay, this is gonna open up a lot of options for us. Envy! Oops. Okay. What were you working on? Restoring a ceremonial spear.
So
okay. I opened the consecration chamber to verify the coronet was in working order. Perform the consecration ceremony safely. Precision is critical. I wanted to make sure the coronet was placed correctly on Mother Miriam. Okay.
Everything seemed... So I opened the consecration chamber. Everything seemed fine, so I returned to my desk again. When Gideon everything seemed fine, so I returned to my desk again.
Check chamber. During the prayer, you claim to have opened the chamber to check the materials. Yeah, there we go. Motive is envy. Mother Miriam's death was merely a means to an end. Humiliation of Gideon. You envy your brother's success. You want his fame and glory.
Ein Sof sees all, Reuben. You killed Mother Miriam to frame Gideon and take him down a peg. With Gideon gone, a daemon whispered that people would finally recognize you for your genius.
Yeah,
I'm
bitch.
older than Gideon. My work is better than Gideon, and more important.
Well, I don't know about
no one
that.
sees my work. No one understands my work.
Confess, Reuben. Tell us what the daemon made you do.
Confess!
Gideon was Mother Miriam's favorite. She barely knew I existed.
Discuss ceremony.
When Gideon suggested increasing the ether output of the coronet, I had an idea.
Uh-oh. Well, I mean, I already know who it is.
Demonic corruption runs deep within Reuben's soul. Yet Reuben may still be saved. I must speak the daemon's true name. Then the daemon will be cast out. Ein Sof, guide me. What daemon has possessed Reuben?
I wonder who it could be. Just kidding, I know because it's me.
Out, Lotan! Leave this soul and return whence you came!
That's me. Okay, so hang on. I gotta give it to me here. This is a great read. I don't normally compliment my own work, but this was a great read.
Magnificently done, Madam Exorcist.
That's me.
The power of Ein Sof compels you, Lotan. Leave this soul and return to the ether.
Thousands of years, and you humans never change.
That's me.
Never satisfied, always comparing, wanting more. Someone
I mean, to be
else is
fair, a lot of it's the
richer,
modulation.
prettier, wiser, better.
A lot of it's the modulation in the voice that makes me sound spooky.
Nothing can ever fill that void within you. Not even me.
Silence, Lotan. Reuben may yet be redeemed.
I don't know about that.
You are a scourge. Without your influence, a good woman would still be alive.
Well, we don't know her.
Leave humans be, Lotan. I banish you to the ether.
As you wish, but I'll return soon enough.
I'll be back.
My prince and master Lucifer walks among you. Lucifer will open the gates of hell, and at last, humanity will remember its full potential. Until then, Madam Exorcist, adieu.
Ooh, I bid her adieu. So, it's funny because
Come forth, Reuben. What remains of you?
I'm all of the demons, except the last one.
He's silent and still. Poor soul. Rest, Reuben. Heal, if you can.
Sister Ada, you've returned. Was there a demon at work after all?
I'm afraid
Surprise!
so. The
Yes.
exorcism was a success. Reuben's soul has been purged. Unfortunately, the daemon was difficult to cleanse. Reuben is returned to pure innocence.
Well, I don't know if innocence is the right word.
What?
He did kill somebody.
The exorcism shattered his mind? Can you bring him back?
It's out of my hands. If Ein Sof wills it, maybe Reuben will heal.
Sleeping with his eyes open, that's weird.
Guards, please escort this shell to the cryostasis cellar. I pray for his swift recovery. Abbot Gregory.
Praise be to Ein Sof, Sister Ada. You have saved us all. On behalf of everyone at St. Walpurgis, I express our utmost gratitude.
Abbot Gregory?
We are not
The
yet
Abbot
safe.
Gregory?
We must act quickly until we locate the source of the demonic influence. We don't understand yet why demons would act after 100 years. Holy Father, we must quarantine the abbey and the surrounding town immediately. Detain and interrogate anyone who seems suspicious.
We can try, Sister Ada, but it will be difficult, as we have visitors arriving hourly. Much like yourself, pilgrims from afar are here to celebrate Walpurgisnacht. It's such a shame Mother Miriam couldn't bear witness to it.
Such a shame her head exploded.
Ah, yes. The priestess. We must destroy her body immediately.
Whoa, what?
Traces of demonic influence may remain from her contact with Reuben.
Yeah, is that how that works? I didn't know that's how that works, but I'm not an exorcist, so I don't know.
Oh, Sister Ada, thank you for your concern, but we absolutely cannot. Mother Miriam was a prominent figure and well-loved, with decades of service. We must treat her body with dignity and give her a proper burial. Send Mother Miriam's body to the mortuary for embalming.
Your Excellency, we really ought to take the advice of the exorcist.
Mother Miriam's body has been desecrated enough, Virgil. Send her to the mortuary, now.
As you command, Your Excellency.
Holy Father, you are making a grave mistake.
Beyond the grave mistake.
Sister Ada, don't worry yourself. All will be well. St. Walpurgis' triumph over Lucifer has brought us a century of peace and bliss. It's horrifying that a demon was exorcised from
There's
our
no
abbey,
way
but
that
surely
Lucifer
it was
could
the
ever
final
be
remedy.
around here.
The daemon within Reuben spoke of Lucifer's return. Lucifer's ways are insidious. Even the most devout among us have temptations.
It's a shame Brother Reuben fell to the demon, but the rest of my flock is stronger. Faith shall be their shield. Now, please excuse me. This evening's mass requires my attention. We are honored by your presence, Sister Ada. Praise be to Ein Sof.
Even the Holy Father can be foolish then, Ein Sof. Let it not be true that Lucifer walks. But if it is, Ein
then we're all
Sof,
fucked.
guide me, that I may unmask all lies, no matter how painful.
The demon's final words haunted me. Lucifer was already among us. I wanted to destroy Mother Miriam's body to purge any trace of demonic influence. Abbot Gregory did not heed my words. Mother Miriam was to be given a proper burial. That afternoon, Inquisitor Virgil sent for me, asking urgently to meet him in the graveyard. Ooh, the graveyard!
Praise Ein Sof. Thank you for coming to our aid so quickly, Sister Ada.
You said it was urgent. Has something happened to Mother Miriam's body?
No, in some ways. That would have been easier. There is now a second untimely death.
Where can you buy this game? You can buy it on Steam, right here.
Another murder. On the very same day. This can't be a coincidence.
That isn't for me to say, but this time, the victim is a younger acolyte named Isaac.
Oh,
His remains
Isaac.
were found in the grave
More
that
like
was dug for
Kryzik.
Mother Miriam. Poor kid's throat was slit.
Whoa!
Who was at the graveyard when the body was found?
Only 3 people were present this afternoon. A scholar, an embalmer, and a grave tender. Father Augustine is a scholar, visiting for Mother Miriam's funeral. The victim was his apprentice, Sister Nerissa, an embalmer with a sterling reputation, preparing Mother Miriam's body for burial. Finally, Abraham, the grave tender, a layman who has kept the grounds of the abbey for many years. None of them say they were near the grave until after the body was discovered.
Which means someone is lying. No matter. Ein Sof sees all. We will unmask their lies and bring the truth forward. I swear it.
Okay, so now we gotta look around. Okay, so we've got Virgil's there. Let's check the headstone. Noble's grave. Immaculately maintained grave shows the genealogy of an illustrious family. There isn't a blade of grass out of place around the stone. A sickle? A lightweight blade slices through the air to trim grass and chop weeds. Its sharp edge could easily injure someone. Statue of Saint Walpurga. Statue of Saint Walpurga, founder of the abbey, patron saint of exorcists. Who do we talk to first? Well, let's look at this Aether scanner. Aether scanner. Portable Aether-powered device, recording images and text. More like hexed. Just kidding. How appropriate. It already got thrown in a grave. Prentice's useful face seen above a cleanly slit throat with no bruising. However, an angry scar runs across his stomach. And what is this? Surgical multi-tool. An Aether-powered tool for making incisions, applying preservatives, and closing wounds. So we've got a whole mess of things to look at here. First, let's talk to Abraham. Abrahamham.
Release me! I had nothing to do with that boy.
Gravekeeper responsibilities include the upkeep of cemetery grounds and preparing graves for burials. Heavily calloused hands at his sides reveals an arduous job.
You must be Abraham, the grave tender.
I am. I've worked here for 30 years. Worked hard without complaint. Look around you. Every bush trimmed, every headstone polished because of me. I've done all that's asked of me and more. If the moment something's wrong, I'm the one blamed. It's not personal. Even the most steadfast among us may fall to prey to Lucifer's whispers. Abraham, if that is your real name. You dug the grave which the victim was found, didn't you? Actually, I didn't dig anything today. Then who did? How would I know? I've been busy working, as always. Wait, you worked here for 30 years and you don't know who's digging graves when you're not? Isn't there like a schedule or something?
As the grave tender, any crimes that took place here are your responsibility. If you are truly innocent, hide nothing, and tell me what happened. We'll find the truth together.
Okay, let's
I
hear it.
spent the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the mortuary.
I think this is the same guy who does Virgil. Wait, somebody was walking
I
over
spent
there.
the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the mortuary.
Okay, so somebody put an Aether scanner there.
When I headed back to the mortuary, Nerissa told me there was nothing else special to do for the day, so I left her to her work. I walked through the mortuary, then headed downhill towards the benches.
So he had the scythe. Or the sickle, right?
I spent the remainder of the afternoon resting on a bench.
Where did we find the sickle?
Suddenly, I heard someone call for help from the back field. I ran over, surprised to see a dead body in the grave.
A fire.
I spent the
and a
remainder of
mist.
the afternoon resting on a bench.
Who's in the tombstone behind him? Okay, hold on. Yeah, here we go, here we go. Yeah, I saw it fall out of his hand. The sickle was found resting on a gravestone that you were supposedly polishing. Admit it, Abraham, you left it there. And of course I had the sickle. I had to tend to the grass around the graves. Didn't mention it because I thought it made me look suspicious. You made yourself even more suspicious. Yeah, let that be a lesson to you, would-be criminals. Amend your testimony. What's your deal, Abraham? Hey, this game's really cool. I actually really like this game. It's fun. Grief. What's the deal with this? Found in Abraham's sanctum. Though it was over 100 years ago, Abraham mourns his family fortune, so quickly reducing their status. Never forget that night someone torched our home, trying to burn us alive. Of course, the guards never caught the arson. How could they? It was almost certainly one of their own. Interesting. How'd you discover
Heaven
the devs
or
to
hell.
voice?
Duel. One. Let's rock.
Muted Havoc. Thank you for the 4 months. I appreciate that. How'd you discover the devs to voice for it? Okay. This is... I can't actually say, but I can say later. I know that sounds very strange. But I can't actually say yet. I can't say yet how I got in touch to voice for this game. Yeah, I joined the death cult. How did you know? You figured it out. It was the demons.
I had a sickle with me because I wanted to walk
wait,
through
here
the
we go.
mortuary, then headed downhill towards the benches.
Okay, but then we got this.
I had a sickle with me because I wanted to trim the grass around a grave in the front field.
Then why did he leave it on the ground? So he trimmed the grass. It's my family's old grave. We're not nobility anymore, but the abbey's grounds once belonged to my ancestors. It was all confiscated after my great-uncle Sergius was branded a heretic. Too bad for the rest of us. Maybe it's Einsoft's humor that I landed a job as a laborer. Life has its ups and downs. It's a good job. Okay, but then... Heard someone call for help from the back field. I ran over, surprised to see a dead body in the grave.
I walked through the I had a sickle with me because I wanted to trim the grass around a grave in the front field.
Motive would be... Okay, yeah. Well, we don't know much else about this guy, so let's talk to other people. Specifically, let's talk to Augustine.
You must be Father Augustine. The victim was your apprentice, correct?
The scholar researches demons and aether technology, helping Abbot Gregory prepare for the Great Mass tonight. Wow. Researching demons and aether technology. I'm sure he seems like a nice guy.
Correct. And you are Sister Ada, the exorcist. It is a unique pleasure.
Thank you, but I only serve Einsoft according to my calling. Why are you here, Father? Visiting in preparation for Mother Miriam's funeral. True. Oh, behind the scenes. So I auditioned for this guy too, and they said they wanted something a little Snape-like. How did Isaac study under you? You know him well? Find a printer. Wait, I should just give him an Alan Rickman voice. Where's your find a printer? A ready mind and willing soul. I will mourn him in my own way. Must admit the prospect of witnessing an exorcism is an unexpected silver lining. If I find you guilty, Father Augustine, you'll find the experience to be unpleasant. Tell me now what happened this afternoon. Leave nothing out. Began taking an afternoon stroll.
I arrived at the graveyard with Isaac for Mother Miriam's funeral. Isaac headed to the mortuary on a minor errand.
Okay.
Then I passed through the graveyard until I saw the statue of Saint Walpurga. What craftsmanship, and so well maintained.
Okay. Already I see a contradiction here. Hold on. Because...
I spent the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the mortuary.
Look, we see the Aether... What is it? The Aether scanner.
I arrived at the graveyard with Isaac for Mother Miriam's funeral.
I mean... Yeah, there we go. During your so-called stroll, did you drop this by accident? You found it placed in front of a gravestone. What were you doing with it? It has nothing to do with Isaac's death. Shall be the judge of that. Tell me what you were doing. Using that scanner to recover a lost hymn for Abbot Gregory to use in tonight's mass. The last record of it is etched upon one of these gravestones. Ah. So what's your deal? Disappointment. In what? Yourself? Myself? Found in Augustine's sanctum. Augustine is unimpressed by his apprentice Isaac's recent research. A mediocre effort for someone with such potential. Isaac could have been an eminent scholar if only he was more disciplined and rigorous in training. I admit I sometimes felt he was wasting his gift. His death is even more of a waste.
I arrived at the graveyard with Isaac for Mother Miriam's funeral.
Right, okay.
Isaac headed to the mortuary on a minor errand.
Okay, so we met her.
Then I passed through the graveyard until I saw the statue of Saint Walpurga. What craftsmanship, and so well maintained.
I am not a vampire. Blah! Right in front there.
It took me a little while, but I found it. The grave of Sergius.
Wait, Sergius is important, right?
I placed my scanner in front of the gravestone. It would take some time to decode the etchings. Then I saw a stranger pass by. He was tall, barrel-chested. I think he was the groundskeeper.
So I think... But didn't we find the scanner over here?
Afterwards,
I thought we
waited
found
by
the scanner
grave
over
for my
here.
scanner to complete its task. It was taking longer than I expected, so I had to leave it.
When the sun was setting, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac and begin the funeral. At sunset, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac. I was surprised to find an open grave with something inside.
Afterwards, I waited by the grave for my scanner
hold
to
on.
complete its task. It was taking longer than I expected, so I had to leave it.
Don't quite know what you're asking. Didn't... Hold on.
It took me a little while, but I found it. The grave of Sergius.
Wait, let's go to Abraham.
I spent the early afternoon tending to the
'Cause
bushes
look.
by the mortuary.
The scanner's there, but then it leaves. Right?
I arrived at the graveyard with Isaac for Mother Miriam's. Then I passed through the graveyard until I saw the statue of Saint
There's something about this.
What? Crap.
There's something about this grave. So I don't know so much about this one because I only recorded stuff for the end of it. Maybe it's just a bug. I don't know.
I arrived at the graveyard with Isaac for Mother Miriam's funeral.
Don't quite know what you're at. Hold on.
I spent the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the mortuary.
No. Oh, hold on. So that's corroboration and specificity.
I had a sickle with me because I wanted to trim the grass around a grave in the front field.
Discover grave. Wait a minute.
At sunset, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac. I was
Heaven or
surprised
hell?
to find
Duel.
an open
Duel.
grave
One.
with something
Let's
in it.
rock.
I was horrified to discover that it was Isaac's dead body. That's when I called for help.
Cyber Jin, thank you for the 13 months. This is a game
At
called Lucifer
sunset,
Within Us
I
that just came out
wandered to the back
yesterday,
area to meet with
and I'm in
Isaac.
it.
When the sun was setting, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac and big. Then I saw a stranger pass by. He was tall, barrel-chested. I think he was the groundskeeper.
Okay, so what was Abraham doing?
I walked through the mortuary,
Aha!
then headed downhill towards the benches.
Aha! Didn't walk through the mortuary after speaking with Narissa. You passed by the grave. Augustine saw you coming from the back fields. Fine, I did walk through the back fields. Past the grave, I tell you. You will always blame me for things I didn't do. I didn't think you'd believe me. Sorry. I haven't said I believe you yet, but we'll see. What was in the grave when you passed by it? Nothing. There was no body, no blood. Nothing. It's his deal. Last Scion. Found in Abraham's sanctum. At the last descendant of a disgraced noble lineage, Abraham feels owed his family legacy. The church decided Sergius, my great-uncle, was a heretic, which I suppose he was. But ever since they persecuted my family, confiscated everything we owned, noble to laborers overnight. That's left of Sergius's line. The job, somehow keep working my ancestral lands, one way or another. I was bitter when I started out, but I've discovered the work suits me. Maybe it is Einsoft's plan after all.
I spent the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the mortuary.
What procedure? Did you see what she was doing in the main room of the mortuary? No, of course not. I can't see through the walls.
Pardon.
When I passed by the grave, it was still empty, ready for the funeral.
Wait a second.
It took me a little while, but I found it. I placed my scanner in front of the gravestone. Then I saw a stranger pass by. He was tall, barrel-chested. It took me a little while.
So Abraham went down.
When I passed by the grave,
This way.
It was still empty.
You didn't see the victim alive or dead in the rear field at the time by the grave you dug. Nope, I didn't see anybody at all, or anything suspicious either. Sorry.
I walked through the walls to reach the front field.
Then I saw a stranger.
Let's try something here. Isaac never measured up to your expectations. You needed to quietly get rid of him before he damaged your reputation. The strongest motivation you can find. It's rather pathetic, though I concede its validity. But we still don't have an opportunity for this guy. And we still don't have a means for him. But Abraham...
I walked through the walls to reach the front field. I suppose that's when the scholar saw me.
When you passed by the grave. Oh, never mind. That's between them. Scholar saw me passing me. I wasn't near the boy then. When could he have done it? Oh, I still have another person to talk to? The only problem is I don't see her. I can't get into the... There's the doctor or whatever. Narissa? But where is she? Muddy footprints in the mortuaries. Rainfall began around dusk, meaning the prints were left by somebody. Wait. Inside the building. Will the door, like, automatically open? Ah. I see. Yeah, I didn't know I had to walk up to it. Identified as Mother Miriam. There's a large incision down her stomach. Judging from her uneven coloring and chemical scent, she appears partially embalmed. A bundle of fresh blossoms, like found on a grave. How are they on the floor? Found on the floors of the mortuary, still wet, leads to the back exit of the mortuary to the embalming table. Found on a table with her entrails, still partially warm and moist. It appears mangled in some way, perhaps smashed? Records show 2 notable entries for today, both explicitly authorized by Abbot Gregory. Funeral for Mother Miriam, visit by Father Augustine, unrestricted access granted. Found hanging in the back area of the mortuary, heavy, bulky, and caked with dirt. Let's talk to Narissa.
Praise Ain Soph. You must be the famed exorcist. It is an honor, sister. I'm Narissa, and I serve Ain Soph by preparing the dead for burial. I take pleasure in providing cleanliness and comfort for bodies after their souls have departed.
I see. Narissa, how did you know the victim?
Not at all. The first time I saw him, he was curled in that grave, dirty and bloody. The whole afternoon, I prepared Mother Miriam's body for burial. There isn't much else to tell.
Or is there?
Early this afternoon, I informed Abraham of the funeral scheduled for this evening.
Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Wait, didn't Abraham say he was tending the bushes the whole time? Okay, okay, I see. So that's actually a lie from Abraham.
I spent the early afternoon tending to the bushes by the...
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. You might trim the hedges most days, but you didn't today. Instead, Narissa asked you to dig a grave for a funeral. It's true, it's a normal part of my job. I shouldn't have lied about it, I know. I worried that if I told the truth, I thought you'd think I killed that boy, but I didn't. Why does he keep lying? When you lie to me, you veil the truth from the eye of Ein Sof. Speak the truth. There's no room for error in this investigation. Fine, I dug the grave for the funeral. Why? He's lied like 4 times! Arrest him! Integrity. Yeah, you sure about that? Found in, he values honesty and sincerity. He genuinely loathes lying and tries to escape accusation. I regret lying. I'm an honest person, but I felt like I had to defend myself somehow from being accused. Of what? Okay, hold on. There's a lot we have to get to here. Let's go to Narissa.
Early this afternoon, I informed Abraham of the funeral scheduled for this evening. Grave to tell. Once Abraham left, I started preparing the body for burial. I was alone the entire time. No one came by.
Ew, gross. Okay.
Mid-afternoon, Abraham barged into the mortuary, bellowing that the grave is now ready. I sent him away to focus. After Abraham's disturbance, I completed the embalming to the best of my humble abilities. Just after dark, I heard a scream from the back field. A dead body was found.
Wait a minute. Thank you for finding it. I had finished the embalming without it. But it was outside, bitch!
After Abraham's disturbance, I completed the embalming to the best of my humble abilities.
What the fuck? No. Okay, hang on. Thank you for finding it. I had difficulty finishing the embalming without it. But she has it! Hold on. Means. Surgical multi-tool. It's designed for precise incisions into hardened tissue. Would have sliced through a living body with ease. Okay, so we know that, but we don't know more about her. Or maybe this isn't a Nerissa accusation, or it's an Augustine accusation.
Afterwards, when at sunset, I wandered to the... When the sun was setting, Afterwards, I waited by the grave for my...
Wait, hold on.
After Abraham's disturb...
Afterwards, I...
Wait. I need the scrubbing tool.
I arrived at the graveyard. Afterwards, when the sun was setting, I wandered to the back area to meet with Isaac and begin the funeral.
I don't quite know what you're asking. Because there she is, obviously. Hey, what's up, Connor? How's it going? This game is actually really cool and super fun. Okay. Maybe I should listen to the rest of... I think I'm sort of getting ahead of myself here. Let's listen to Abraham's full testimony.
I wanted to trim the grass around a grave in the front field. Nerissa told me there'd be an urgent funeral in the evening. I'm not usual, so I picked up the shovel and went down to the rear plot to dig a new grave. The ground was hard. Took me some time to dig that hole.
You need to break down Nerissa first. So he dug the grave. But didn't he say he didn't know who dug that grave?
My rights. There wasn't anyone else around, so it was nice and peaceful.
Didn't he say, like... I don't know who dug that? Did we... Hold on. Yeah, he also lied about that. Wait, The
ground was hard. Took me some time to dig that hole. I took a long break while digging. It's within my rights. There wasn't anyone else around, and I got back to it and finished.
Oh, we sussed him out. Okay.
When the grave was ready, I walked back to the mortuary to let Nerissa know.
We can corroborate this, so we know that that's corroborated.
When I passed by the grave, it was still empty, ready for the funeral.
Hold on, let's go back to Augustine.
I placed my scanner in front of the... I arrived at the graveyard with Isaac for Mother Miriam's funeral. Isaac headed to the mortuary on a minor errand.
Wait a minute. Hold on. That's impossible. Wait, Nerissa. Wait,
Once
Nerissa...
Abraham left, I started preparing...
There we go. Yeah. Nerissa said that she was working on the body, but she said that, but Augustine said that Isaac was talking to her. Lies, Nerissa. Father Augustine saw you speak to Isaac by the entrance of the mortuary. Isaac entered the mortuary. Admit it. Very well, there's no use hiding it. Please know that nothing untoward happened. The victim only stopped by for a moment. Okay, so here we go. Okay, what's your fucking deal, lady? Famine survivor. What's up with that? Without faith, I could never have persevered through those days. I'm grateful to Einsof and kind souls of our church. Grew up during the Great Famine, feeding on anything she could find. She eventually found sustenance, but at what cost? Hey!
Early this afternoon, I informed Abraham of the funeral scheduled for this evening. The truth is that the apprentice did come by. He asked for a bouquet for the funeral later that day.
Wait a second. A fresh bundle of blossoms like they were found on a grave. Why were they on the floor? Okay.
When I showed him the bouquet, he held it for a moment and then threw it on the floor. I suppose it wasn't to his master's tastes. I forgot to pick it back up. Then the boy asked to be taken to the rear fields before the funeral, so I led him out the back exit.
I don't think that contradicts what I said. But he... Hold on. Wait. Okay. Accused opportunity would be here. You killed Isaac when he was visiting the mortuary to fetch the bouquet. I admit he came by, but he left shortly afterwards. If he died in the mortuary, why was his body found in the grave? Because his body would move. This is when it would have happened. Right, so we have one of them, but we need another opportunity. Oh! Okay.
When I showed him the bouquet, he held it for a moment
never discovered the
and then
bloody
threw it on
footprints?
Then the boy, mid after Abraham's disturbance, I completed the. Then the boy asked to be taken to the rear fields before the funeral, so I led him out the back exit.
Yeah.
Then I got back to it and finished digging the grave.
Yeah, there we go. Take Isaac to the exit. My family's honor, I swear I saw nobody digging... I saw no one while digging the grave. Certainly didn't see Narissa or the boy come through. Despite conflict with other testimonies or evidence, the suspect insists that the following is true. Took a long break while digging. It's within my rights.
The ground was hard. I took a long break while digging. Then I got back to it and when the grave was ready, I walked back to the mortuary to when I passed by the grave. It was still empty. When I passed by the grave, it was still empty, ready for the funeral. I walked through the walls to reach the front field. I suppose that's when the scholar saw me.
Hey, Narissa, what's
Abraham's
up?
disturbance.
You could have also done it here. After you dismissed Abraham, you weren't finishing the preparations for Mother Miriam's funeral. You dragged the victim's body to the grave, hoping to bury it before anyone arrived. And I think maybe the... That has nothing to do with the victim. I'd never met him before today, but that doesn't matter. You murdered him because you're a serial killer and a cannibal. I never met... okay. Maybe contradict Narissa with what Abraham said he didn't see anyone? Wait.
Then the boy asked to be taken to the...
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Motive. Hungry. I don't know why Abraham would lie, but the victim left through that door. I swear I saw it myself.
When I showed him the bouquet, he held it for a moment and then threw it on the floor. I suppose it wasn't to his master's tastes. I forgot to pick it back up.
Motive. Maybe the bouquet? No. So he didn't take the bouquet with him? No, he decided it was best to return empty-handed rather than bring something unworthy. Apologize for the filth. Normally the mortuary is kept pristine, I assure you, but today is hardly a normal day. Okay, hold on. I want to look at the footprints. So the muddy footprints come from here. So let's ask Abraham about it. These can't be my footprints. It's true that I went inside the mortuary after working outside, but that was before the rain. This is Mother Miriam's embalmed liver. It's rather deformed. What happened to it? My apologies, Sister Ada. I must have mishandled it. Organs are very delicate, you know. Yeah, I think she took a little bite.
When I showed him the bouquet, he held it for a moment and then threw it on the floor. When I showed him the bouquet, he held it for a moment and then threw it on the floor. Then the boy asked to be taken to the rear fields before the funeral, so I led him out the back exit.
Head to mortuary. Okay, so... Okay, then let's check Abraham again.
When the grave was ready, I walked back to the mortuary to let Narissa...
Not sure how that proves me wrong. Because you would have seen Isaac. So somebody's lying here.
When I passed by the grave, it was still empty, ready for the funeral.
Yeah, but
I
so
took a
they're
long
both
break
they
while
both
digging.
insist that they're
It's within
right.
my rights. There wasn't anyone else around, so it was nice and peaceful.
So they're both somebody's lying here, right?
Then I got back to it and finished digging the grave. When the grave was ready, I walked back to the mortuary to let Nerissa know.
Okay, hold on.
Then the boy asked to be taken to the rear field.
Yeah, it does. Head to mortuary.
Mid-afternoon, Abraham barged into the mortuary, bellowing that the grave is now ready. I sent him away to focus.
Contradict. Yeah. I did ask about this. She says, I don't think that contradicts what I said.
Then the boy asked to be taken to after Abraham's disturbance. I completed the embalming to the best of my humble ability.
But there's footprints in here, so... Okay, so the rain started now. So she had to have seen them.
I had a sickle with me because I wanted to trim the grass around it.
She went inside the mortuary, but that was before the rain. Yeah, I mean, we know that it's her footprints.
After Abraham's disturbance, I completed the embalming to the best of my humble abilities.
Do we know it's hers, or could it be the other dude? I read the title and got schmixed. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was a goof. You know, it was one of my patented goofs. Mother Miriam, this was the body I was preparing for the funeral tonight. Horrible way to die. At least her inner organs were intact. But what about this? Aha! Who do I voice in here? I voice 3 of the demons and Gideon, who I think you might see again. Her liver is still bloody. How could you possibly claim that it was ready for burial? I couldn't finish the burial preparations in time because I misplaced my surgical tool. I searched all over the mortuary for it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Carnivore. Enjoys exotic cuts of meat, especially fresh entrails and organs. Perhaps I enjoy meat too much, but everyone has a soft spot for something, don't they? Motive. Mr. Ada, I admit I enjoy meat, sometimes even sinfully on days of fasting, but I always repent and am cleansed. What would make me kill someone? I can buy what I want from the butcher. Not this kind of meat, baby! They call it long pork. Never even met the victim before today. Yeah, okay. Look for multi-tool.
After Abraham left, I noticed that my multi-tool wasn't in my pocket. I searched all over the mortuary for it, but it was missing. I did what I could without making... After Abraham left, I noticed that my multi-tool wasn't in my pocket. I searched all over the mortuary for it, but it was missing. I did what I could without making new incisions, but that made things slower and messier. I'm not pleased with the results.
Okay, so...
After Abraham left, I noticed that my multi-tool wasn't in my pocket.
But the multi-tool was outside.
I searched all over the mortuary. I did what I could without making new incisions, but that made things slow. After Abraham, I did what I could without making new incisions,
Finish embalming.
but that made things slower and messier. I'm not pleased with the results.
There we go. Yeah, because there were footprints, so she would have seen it. Blame these muddy footprints, Nerissa. They indicate that someone left and returned to the mortuary during the rain. Given that Father Augustine remained outside and that Abraham left before the rain, these must be your footprints. Sorry, Sister Ada, for the lies, but for the filth. I can't wait to clean it up. I admit that I did step outside briefly to search for the multi-tool, but since it was raining, I couldn't find anything, so the embalming remains sadly unfinished. Okay, so she searches outside, but what else is your deal? Huh, bitch? What are you hiding from me? Cannibal! Wow, that's pretty open. Hey, what the fuck is the deal here? But it's harmless, I assure you. I've never seen somebody so openly come out about this. I only nibble at the entrails that no one would want. Hey, what the fuck? Your austere childhood has led you to develop a deep craving for exotic meats, especially a certain rare flesh that has sustained you in a time of need. Working as an embalmer must have tempted you day in and day out. You were so virtuous for so long. You would handle the organs as part of preparing bodies. You would easily imagine the taste and texture, yet you resisted. Then Isaac arrived. Demons spoke. You could no longer ignore your hunger. A fresh, juicy liver at your fingertips. It would be so much tastier than the cold entrails you handled from corpses. J'accuse!
Suf sees all, Nerissa.
J'accuse!
You are the only person who could have killed Isaac. Do you deny it?
Curse you, and curse Saint Soph. How can the eye see all? Does it see my suffering? Where was Ain Soph when my family was dying in the street? Chewing on leather just to live another day.
That's true. If you're ever starving, you can eat your leather shoes.
The famine was a test, Nerissa. Ain Soph wanted you to demonstrate your faith. Your will to live.
Have you ever felt true hunger? When you haven't eaten for days, reality shifts. The body needs.
We all have our challenges set out before us, Nerissa. Some more difficult than others.
Do you think I was the only one that fed on human flesh?
No, but I think you're the only one that fed on human flesh like 30 minutes ago.
It's not for me to judge what you did back then. That's between you and your confessor. But today, you murdered an innocent youth so that you could feed on his liver. A daemon has possessed you. Confess, Nerissa. Speak the truth. It is time.
Confess? Boy, I wonder whom it could be. Who could the demon be?
Nerissa's wretched soul is twisted by demonic influence. I must speak the daemon's true name. Then the daemon will be cast out and be banished to the ether. Ain Soph, guide me. What daemon has possessed Nerissa?
Boy, I wonder.
Out, Beelzebub! Leave this soul and return whence
Oh,
you came.
he's got all those mouths. Oh, this is also me, by the way.
No, we must feed.
Yeah, that's me.
Nerissa, delicious, scrumptious little morsel.
Mmm, delicious.
We must have more. The hunger is an endless pit. More!
Speak, Beelzebub. Why has your kind returned?
Hunger is a primal need. Just as you feed on lesser life forms, growing them in captivity for slaughter.
It's just like people.
We feed on you. The meat of your emotions, the marrow of your deepest desires.
You will prey upon us no longer, Beelzebub.
Did you gargle water? No, that's just me doing it.
Return to the ether.
I wish she would call him Bubsy. Get the fuck out of here,
I
Bubsy.
must obey for now, but we won't be gone too long. Tonight, Lucifer will open the gates of hell. I won't be the only one allowed to feast. Ada, you juicy little morsel, we shall devour you soon. You and all the other delicacies.
Oh no, here I go. Zoom! Back to the Aether.
Nerissa. Do you hear me, Nerissa? Was I too late? Goodbye, Nerissa. May Ain Soph make you whole again.
Wait, she died?
This is the power of an exorcist. I've dreamed of seeing this. It looks a bit different than I imagined, however. What's happening to her?
Oh. She's fine.
Ada, look out!
Huh?
Oh no!
Halt, Nerissa.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Good. I've stunned her.
Oh, okay, good. They had to establish that.
Are you all right, sister?
I thought they were just gonna have like a gun sound, like bang!
Yes. You came just in time. My thanks, Virgil.
Ain Soph, save us. Another possession. Another killing. How is this possible? Who is responsible?
I'm sure we'll never figure it out.
Virgil, you have failed us. How could you allow this to happen?
Unfortunately, Father, I believe you are primarily responsible. We should have listened to Ada.
Uh-oh.
She warned us about the contaminated body, and its demons spread, just as she said.
We must act now. We can't waste any more time bickering about who's to blame. The daemon within Nerissa spoke of Lucifer's return. He walks among us.
Why, whoever could he be?
Return now on the holiest of days. Why? Are we being punished?
It doesn't matter why. The Abbey is unsafe, Father. Cancel the Mass. Send the pilgrims home. If you proceed, you are risking all their lives.
No, Father. You must stay the course. We've worked too hard for this moment. I have decoded the ancient hymn of communion.
Excuse me? This moment? What moment are you working for?
This chance will not come again for another century. It's literally the last chance we have in our lifetimes.
What is the significance of that hymn? Why must it be sung tonight?
According to Augustine's research, it honors Saint Walpurga and her victory in a way uniquely pleasing to Ain Soph.
There's nothing suspicious about that, right?
I protest. But if you absolutely must hold the Mass, at least allow me to guard you at the altar. You are putting yourself in danger. What if you were possessed?
That may be unwise, Father. Surely if things are as dangerous as you say, nobody should be trusted.
What if it's Ada, the exorcist?
How do we know this supposed exorcist is not the pawn of Lucifer?
That's absurd! You witnessed the exorcism!
I literally saw you! I literally saw her do it! Yes, but what if she's an imposter? Sister Ada was ejected.
No, I saw her turn a woman into a rabid beast. What really transpired in the
I
ether
saw
when she
you vent,
supposedly
Sister Ada!
exorcised these demons? She invokes the demons' names. She knows them more intimately than any of us.
I speak their names to control them and then banish them. You know this.
Yeah, you should know this, fucking exorcism research guy.
Or perhaps you are being used by them. How would we know?
The only thing that possesses me is the flame of Ain Soph. I shouldn't have to defend myself.
Actually, what Augustine says makes sense. We should be extra cautious, just in case.
It's a total self-report.
self-report. The Mass. If you truly believe Lucifer lurks at my abbey, find him. Unmask him. Search the grounds as you like. But stay away from the chapel, or I will have you put in a cell. Nothing can be permitted to interrupt the Mass and the hymn, especially after the events of today. Saint Walpurga deserves to be honored for her victories. Inquisitor, Augustine, come. We have much to prepare.
Very wise, Father. As always.
So, I trust this guy.
Sister.
Absolutely trust this guy, right? Totally trustworthy.
It would be best if you were wrong, Ada.
Oh, but I'm filled
That's
with dread.
because it is. Lucifer will strike tonight, Virgil. I only pray he strikes at me instead of at the Mass. Stay vigilant.
Poisoned by Father Augustine against me, Abbot Gregory ordered I remain outside the chapel for his mass. At midnight, the gathered pilgrims lifted their voices in praise to Ain Soph, but they were cut short by a thunderous crash. Another soul taken! Ooh! Spooky!
Virgil, where's Abbot Gregory? What interrupted his Mass?
The abbot. His death was the interruption. A third murder, I'm afraid.
A thirder? That's what happens when there's 3 murders in a night. It's called a thirder.
The lights went out during Mass. Moments later, the statue of Saint Walpurga crashed down from the ceiling. impaling Abbot Gregory with its spear.
An assassination, then. But why? We must determine who is possessed immediately. Examining the facts will reveal Ain Sof's truth. How was the statue held in place?
Due to its weight, we had to rely on using aether-powered restraints to hang it above the altar, which means the killer must have sabotaged the 2 power generators on the balcony floor. There were only 2 people on the balcony during the mass. I've detained them for interrogation. I've sent the pilgrims back to town, lest they panic and disturb the evidence.
Excellent work, Virgil. Who are the suspects? You said there were 2.
You already know them. Brother Gideon and Father Augustine.
Well, look who's back! Look who's back, huh?
Since you are a key witness to the events, I will of course hear your testimony as well. May Ain Sof show us the truth behind all of today's events.
Imagine that. I'm gonna talk to my dumbass first.
This can't be happening. Yet another death? Am I to be blamed again?
Calm yourself, Gideon.
I'm innocent! Even more! I'm the victim here. I was attacked. Surely that puts me above suspicion. You were attacked? By whom? I couldn't see them. Whoever it was, they attacked me from behind. I was knocked unconscious until the guards found me.
At the start of the night, I was waiting near the organ.
Waiting. Chilling out, having a good time, you know me.
When the mass began, I played the entry hymn on the organ. I think I played well enough, though I didn't have much time to practice it.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, I hate to talk about my performance, but that little bit at the end there, that was a good read.
At the start of the night, I was waiting near the organ. When the mass began, I played the entry hymn on the organ. I think I played well enough, though I didn't have much time to practice it.
I like that read.
After the opening hymn, I listened to Abbot Gregory's sermon. It was a pretty good one.
It was a pretty good one, you know, as far as it goes.
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind. I fell unconscious until just now.
And I was unconscious the whole time. Whoa, God! All right, Virgil, what's your deal? Must bring divine justice to the sinner who killed Abbot Gregory. I only wish I could act as Inquisitor here, but I submit to your authority. This is what I witnessed tonight. Okay. What do you got, Virgil?
We arrived shortly before the mass began.
Inquisitor, prepare.
As you command. I began my patrol by securing the east side of the balcony. I saw Gideon examining the ritual bell.
Aha. Wait a minute. He said he was by the organ.
At the start of the night, I was
Uh-oh. Lies, Gideon. Virgil saw you standing near the ritual bell prior to mass. What were you doing? Really? I'm innocent, but maybe the attack damaged my memory. What you say sounds familiar. Did I misremember? I do recall ringing the bell. When exactly did that happen? Let me think. Uh-oh. Shattered confidence. Gideon no longer trusts himself, questioning his own memory and competence. Perhaps he did make a mistake after all.
Given the tragic events of this morning, I examined the condition of the east generator to ensure the safety of the chapel.
That's me!
Next, I checked the ritual bell. As I was doing this, I saw Inquisitor Virgil gazing at the altar.
Weird, why would he do that?
I knew Mass was about to begin, so I headed back to the organ.
Then he played it, and then I played it.
When the Mass began, I played the entry hymn on the organ. I think I played well enough, though I didn't have much time to practice it. I knew Mass was about to...
Okay, so let's go back.
I began my patrol by securing the east side of the balcony. We arrived shortly. I began my patrol
so we can
by securing
corroborate
the east
this.
side of the balcony. I saw Gideon.
While you're on the east balcony, did you notice anything strange? Nothing of note. The generator seemed fine, at least to my eyes.
Then, I patrolled the south balcony.
Okay.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony. As
Lights
I heard
go
the
out.
ritual bell ring for the second time, the lights went out. I suspected foul play, so I headed towards the west generator. Along the way, I discovered Gideon lying unconscious. Everything as I suspected foul play. To protect the remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony.
Ooh, someone's
Along the
over
way,
there.
I heard an explosion. Then, the statue's aether restraints deactivated, dropping and impaling Abbot Gregory. May he rest in peace. When I arrived at the generator, Augustine was standing nearby, smirking at the carnage he caused. I arrested him there and then.
Okay, so let's actually, we haven't actually looked at any, what do you call it, evidence yet. Abbot Gregory stabbed through the chest by the statue's spear while giving communion to mass. I actually really like the stylized art of this, how everybody's kind of like geometrical. I don't know if you noticed that. I think it's pretty cool. Massive musical instruments similar to the organ in the cybernetics tower. Generator normally powers the lights in the aether restraints. In conjunction with its counterpart in the eastern balcony, it's been fried by some sort of aetheric discharge. The whole aesthetic? Yeah, honestly, I would play another game like this. Like, if they ever made a sequel to this, I absolutely would play it. Old bronze bell rung during mass. Generator normally powers the lights of the aetheric restraints. In conjunction with its counterpart in the west balcony, it's been fried by some sort of aetheric discharge. So both of them were fried. Found near the power generator on the east balcony, overloaded and shattered to bits. We need to talk to Augustine.
Ah, poor Abbot Gregory. We had such hopes and plans together.
What kind of plans?
If only he had listened to your
Yeah,
sage
Lucifer's
advice,
day out.
Sister Ada. Perhaps he would be safe now,
You. I cannot ignore that you are the link. Everything that has happened today points back to you, Augustine.
It must be a tragic coincidence. The abbot was my friend and trusted ally. I wished him no harm.
Explain your actions. What were you doing on the balcony?
With Mother Miriam's passing, Abbot Gregory needed someone to ring the ritual bell. I volunteered. It was an honor. The abbot, Virgil, and I arrived at the chapel just before the Mass. When I headed to my seat for the Mass to begin, I was rather excited for the proceedings. We began by singing the hymn of communion. It was glorious. When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare to ring the bell. I rang the bell to announce the start of communion. I noticed Gideon was absent from the other balcony, but didn't think much of it at the time. I rang the bell a second time. Suddenly, the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness. I stood calmly by the bell, waiting for someone to fix the problem. Moments later, the statue dropped from the ceiling, and I saw the abbot impaled by the statue. I'll never forget.
You were arrested by, over here, the generator. Liar, when Virgil arrested you, you were not standing by the bell. You were standing near the generator overlooking the altar. True, but what does a few feet matter? You were the only one near the east generator before the statue fell. Perhaps you sabotaged it. But I only approached the generator because I heard an explosion. I arrived after the sabotage, not before. Liar! Ride. Augustine remains strangely confident that everything will go as he planned with a smug air. Interesting. I suppose it's difficult to remain humble even when I feel everything that happened is so very predictable. God, could he be any more of like a fucking
Abbot,
villain?
Virgil and I arrived at the chapel just before the mass. About moments later, the statue dropped, but I saw the abbot impaled by the statue. On the other balcony, I could see someone looking down at the altar. That's when Virgil arrested me.
Okay, so... Wait.
But then I heard an
Here,
suddenly.
explosion.
Then I heard an explosion. I discovered...
Wait, let's check.
To protect the remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony. Along the way, I heard an explosion.
Totally might not be suspicious, but we want him to have a slimy voice. Oh yeah, oops, I missed the hammer up here. Ritual hammer. Wait, let's talk to you again. Wait, let's talk to Augustine.
The abbot, Virgil. When I headed to my seat for the mass to begin, I was rather excited for the proceedings.
Wait a minute. Patrol east balcony. Yes, okay, so that's confirmed.
We began. When I headed to my seat for the mass to begin, I was rather excited for the proceedings.
Wait, patrol south balcony. So he saw him up there. Oh, no, no, no.
The south balcony.
No, 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 that's right. Okay, we see him there, right?
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
So who knocked him unconscious?
As I heard the ritual bell ring for the second time, the lights went out. I suspected foul play, so I headed towards the west generator. Along the way, I discovered Gideon lying unconscious.
Wait, I want to talk to Gideon again. Generators work in tandem to provide aetheric energy to the chapel. Each is a backup of the other. If necessary, only one generator is enough to power critical systems. Okay, so... These were found by the east generator? It's hard to say, but I would guess that that used to be an arm. We've only made these for Inquisitors. It can discharge aetheric energy to incapacitate someone. Even supports remote activation, useful for ambushing fugitives. Hey, what's the deal with this? They're non-lethal. Gideon is correct. Inquisitor's arms can be operated from a distance. Truthfully, I haven't needed to do so. I much prefer direct confrontation.
I began. I patrolled the south balcony. Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
Why did you position yourself at the south balcony? Gave me a clear vantage point of the entire chapel. Wait a minute.
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind.
Certain cybernetic parts allow the user to temporarily detach them and control them at a distance. I wouldn't rely on it for delicate or sophisticated movement. No one else could obtain an arm like this, not in any official way. Theoretically, someone could sever the arm from an Inquisitor and directly cause the emitter to discharge. But that would require great knowledge of aetheric technology.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south.
The means would be the Inquisitor arm. Your arm was the only aether-powered device that could have damaged the generators. Not to mention knock Gideon unconscious. I'll grant you that my arm could have been used to attack Gideon and damage the west generator. However, the east generator blew up before I could cross the balcony. If I am the culprit, how did I destroy the east generator without being anywhere near it? Inquisitor arms have special design allowing for remote activation. Earlier in the night, you detached your right arm and placed it on the east generator. Thanks to your cape, no one noticed your missing arm. You attacked Gideon and damaged the west generator with your remaining arm. Culprit's opportunity would be before this moment, not after. The culprit somehow damaged both generators without being seen. The west generator. It was when you claimed you were watching over the chapel. In truth, you were destroying the west generator. No one heard the explosion thanks to the ringing of the ritual bell. What about Gideon? He would have seen me? True, however, Gideon claims that he was attacked from behind and was lying unconscious. It gave you ample time to damage the west generator. This is absurd. For the sake of argument, let's say I did do those things. Let's say I did commit murder. Then what? If I was the one that damaged the west generator, when could I have sabotaged the east generator without it being seen? Really, someone would have seen me cross the balcony. When could I have damaged the east generator? When could I have sabotaged the east generator without being seen? Oh, patrolling. Yeah, you were near the east generator earlier while patrolling the east balcony. But we have no motive. We literally have no motive for him. There's no reason he would do any of that.
As I heard the ritual bell ring for the second time, the lights went out. Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony. Then, I patrolled the south balcony. Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and as I heard the ritual bell ring for the second time, the lights went out.
Suddenly, the lights went out.
Okay, opportunity would be here? Just after the lights went out, it was dark. You were already on the east balcony. How astute. Now, for a more difficult issue. When could I have sabotaged the west generator? I never went near it. He didn't go near it. That's true. Means would be the ritual hand. Perhaps if I had all night to bash away at them, I could do such a thing. Given the rapidity of tonight's events, it seems impossible to culprit. I have no access to the thing. Use the Inquisitor's cybernetic arm. Its built aether emitters are powerful enough to damage the generators. I would need something that could harm its owner. What would that be? An unlikely weapon, but so be it. Let's pretend I could have an incapacitated Inquisitor with me. I was ringing the bell. Yeah. But we don't know that. Maybe it has something.
As I heard the ritual bell ring, I suspected foul play, so I headed towards the west generator. Along the way, I discovered Gideon lying unconscious.
We just need to get his motive.
To protect the remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony. Along the way, I heard an explosion. Then, the statues ate to protect the remaining. I suspected foul play. To protect the remaining I suspected foul play.
Wait, hold on.
So I headed towards the west generator. To protect the remaining generator, I ran towards the east balcony. Along the way, I heard an explosion. Then, the statue's aetherish to protect the remaining generator.
Wait a minute.
I ran towards the east.
Oh, maybe it's different. Okay, hold on.
Then I heard an explosion. I discovered that...
Virgil doesn't believe you were standing idle during this time. I tend to agree with him. Besides speculation, if you have proof, doesn't have proof that you were standing still. Ritual hammer, maybe?
Suddenly, the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness. I stood calmly by the bell, waiting for someone to fix the problem.
Virgil, what is going on?
Okay, so stay calm.
Then I heard an explosion. I discovered that the power generator was damaged.
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind. I fell unconscious until just now.
Okay, so somebody... Yeah, let's ask about this. You were laying on the floor that whole time? That's right, by the time I woke up, the pilgrims had been sent away. Virgil tells me he found you on the ground, but he doubts that you were unconscious for some... Well, so what if he doubts me? That's hardly proof.
Suddenly, the lights went out and the chapel was covered in darkness.
Wait. Contradict.
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind.
Those are in the cathedral. Ruben used to make sure it was well maintained. I'm trying to figure out where the contradiction
I knew Mass
is.
was about to begin, so I headed back to the organ.
Maybe Virgil watching over the chapel with Gideon being knocked unconscious.
After the opening hymn, I listened to Abbot Gregory's sermon.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol.
After the opening hymn, I listened to Abbot Gregory's sermon.
Yeah, he would have seen it happen.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
How can we... He would have seen it happen.
Then, I patrolled the south. Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
But how do we get that? Is there, like, evidence I'm missing or something?
After the opening hymn, I listened to Abbot Gregory's sermon. It was a pretty good one.
Over into sermon.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and...
Knockout event was not the unconscious event. Wait.
After the opening hymn, I listened to Abbot Gregory's sermon.
Wait, what do you mean? Contradict listen to sermon. While talking to Virgil?
When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare to ring the bell. We began by singing the hymn of communion. It was glorious. When the sermon started, I headed to the balcony to prepare to ring the bell.
Then, I patrolled the south balcony. Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony. As I heard the ritual bell ring for the second time, I suspected foul play. I began my patrol by securing the east side of the balcony. I saw Gideon examining the ritual bell. Then, I patrolled the south balcony.
Yeah, nobody saw Augustine go upstairs. Nobody saw him go up there.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
But that's corroboration and specificity. Why'd you position yourself at the south balcony? Give me a clear vantage point of the entire chapel. Then... this? No. Then he would have seen whoever did that. But I can't figure out where they want me to accuse.
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind. I fell unconscious until just now.
Didn't Augustine say he didn't see?
I rang the bell to announce the start of communion. I noticed Gideon was absent from the other balcony.
He was listening attentively to the sermon, so he must have been facing the altar. I was facing the stairs, which are at the rear of the chapel.
When the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me from behind. I fell unconscious until just now.
Augustine did say someone was seen across the west generator. So, Augustine...
I rang the bell to announce the start of communion. I noticed Gideon was absent from the other balcony, but didn't think much of it at the time.
Can you present the west generator to Virgil? Wait. Hold on.
Everything appeared to be in order, so I ended my patrol and watched over the chapel from the south balcony.
Fail to see how that's relevant. Fail to see how that's relevant. I've already tried
when the ritual of communion began, someone attacked me.
Yeah, he doesn't like that. Contradict Gideon about the unconscious thing when lights go out, since Virgil would have seen that happen. Virgil tells me he found you on the ground, but he doubts that you were unconscious for so long. Well, so what if he doubts me? That's hardly proof. Yeah, I'm a little stumped here. I know there's something, but I don't know what the flag is.
Given the tragic events of this morning, I examined the condition of the east generator to ensure the safety of the chapel.
Virgil said he arrested him at the balcony.
Next, I knew Matt after when the ritual of communion began. Someone.
Well, we already corroborated
until just now.
Then, the statue's aether restraints deactivated, dropping and impaling Abbott. When I arrived at the generator, Augustine was
You seem certain that Augustine is the culprit. Did you see him sabotage the generator? No, I arrived too late for that. However, there wasn't anyone else nearby. Let's go back
I knew
here.
Mass was about to. Given the tragic events of this morning, I examined.
No one else could attain an arm like this, not in any official way. Maybe means would be the... Etheric device could have damaged generators. You ambushed Virgil during the mass and removed his arm. You're the only one who could have done such a thing, given your expertise in cybernetics. The opportunity. How would I have affected the west generator? You were standing on the west balcony during the mass. You had ample opportunity to sabotage the generator. It's because the organ is on the west balcony. That doesn't mean I sabotaged anything. What about the east generator? I didn't go near it at all. Except you did! You claimed you had been inspecting east generator and the ritual bell. In truth, you were sabotaging the east generator! Don't see how that proves I would kill Abbot Gregory. I mean, that's true. We got this, but there's no specificity. What was he doing? He walked over to the overhang near the altar. I assumed he wanted to inspect something. Wait, I did?
Given the tragic... Next, I checked the ritual bell. As I was doing this, I saw Inquisitor Virgil gazing at the altar.
Hold on.
I began my patrol by securing the east side of the
Wait a
balcony.
minute. There we go! I found it! Why do you lie, Virgil? Gideon saw you on the balcony looking down upon the Abbot Augustine. I didn't want to distract you with trivial details. It's true, I was watching the two of them. I suspected Father Augustine was up to something. What's your deal? Wrath! Wrath! What does that mean? Virgil has a strong, innate sense of justice, urging him to act and punish the guilty, provoked by today's events. Divine justice must be served, Sister Ada. By Ein Sof's will, I shall punish the sinners among us. It is my duty and my pleasure, as it is yours, I believe.
I went up the balcony, but I listened in on the Abbot and Augustine. I think they were discussing the ritual of communion. I was suspicious of Augustine, but I continued my duties by continuing my patrol.
Eavesdrop from balcony.
At the Abbot's behest, I went up the balcony, but I listened in on the Abbot and Augustine. I think they were discussing the ritual of communion.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
To my seat for the
Wait a
mass to be-
minute. Wait a minute. Liar! Virgil saw you speak to the abbot. What were you discussing? He saw us? Very well. Abbot Gregory and I did speak at the altar, it's true. We were discussing the ritual of communion. We wanted everything to be perfect. What's your fucking deal? Ritual of communion. Yeah, what's this? What is this thing? Through his ritual and demons, Augustine was able to discover a way to reach out to the Aether and commune with the spirits therein. Trying to achieve communion, a state in which Ein Sof can speak directly to our hearts. Ein Sof wasn't always so silent, you know. Everyone would hear his voice, and it was no metaphor. And since demons were sealed away by Saint Walpurga,
Duel,
Ein Sof has also
two.
become
All or
silent.
nothing.
Maybe Ein Sof is a demon too! I don't actually know. Arsenical, thank you for the 17 months. Church pretends they can hear what the layfolk can't, but what if we could all hear Ein Sof again? The boundary between the physical and ethereal realms are the thinnest at this abbey, where Walpurga sealed it. On Walpurgis Nacht, it becomes thinner still, a cyclical resonance, every 111 years. Having the faithful sing in unison, we hope to break Walpurgis' seal and witness Ein Sof once more.
At the altar.
Tell me more about your discussion. Despite his bravado, the abbot was shaken by our warnings. Just as the mass was about to start, he became fearful and asked me whether we ought to stop and send the pilgrims home. So I reminded the abbot that we chose this path, and the true voice of Ein Sof awaited. And he believed you? Of course, because it's true. The ritual of communion will allow us to hear what as our ancestors were. I admit that he knew perhaps a possession could also occur. He deemed it an acceptable risk. You're really not helping your case here, man. It would be a worthy price to pay in order to restore our connection to Ein Sof. My words gave him heart. His sermon was more brilliant than ever. Of course, we didn't expect his own life would be the prize. Now the ritual is incomplete anyhow. What a waste.
When I headed to my seat for the Mass to begin, I was rather excited for the proceedings.
Now what is
I went up the balcony.
Yeah, so that's right.
When I headed to my seat for the Mass to begin, I was rather excited for the proceedings. We began by singing the hymn of communion. It was glorious.
Ritual of communion. Virgil now has had access to both generator. Whenever could I have sabotaged the east generator? We don't. That's one thing we don't know. Well, motive might. Why would I want to kill Abbot? Oh, wait a minute.
I was suspicious of Augustine.
You killed Abbot Gregory because your faith has been twisted into wrath. When you discovered Abbot Gregory and Augustine might have caused a demonic possession, you decided to become the Fist of Ein Sof and take matters into your own hands. It was you, Virgil!
You are the only one that could have killed the abbot.
Take that!
It wounds me that you have been corrupted so. I trusted you. And yet, when I examine the facts, it is the unavoidable truth.
Perhaps I am a sinner, but the abbot was too. Long before I gained my office, Father Gregory was well deserving of death. Try as I might, I can't regret what I did.
His arm is missing. Oh, shit.
And you, Augustine, you too deserve divine punishment for the part you played.
Yeah, but you can't pin it on me, bitch.
Everyone for your dangerous ritual. I may have killed one sinner, but in doing so, I saved the lives of many innocents and executed the will of Ein Sof. You wish to hear the truth? Listen well.
Uh-oh. Wait, we got... Oh.
We arrived shortly before the Mass began.
Oh, this is the truth.
I suspected that Augustine was up to no good, so I planned to eavesdrop on him and the abbot while patrolling. I was sickened by what I heard. They knew that the Mass would weaken St. Walpurga's seal and cause demonic possessions. That's when I saw a way to take care of both the abbot and Augustine. First, I attached Then, I pretended to resume my patrol. Through remote activation, I could damage the generator. I waited near the organ for the sermon to end, and approached Gideon from behind. When Augustine rang the bell, I attacked Gideon with my remaining arm.
What the fuck, man?
No one heard the impact because of the bell. When Augustine rang the bell the lights went out, which before the guards could find me, I ran to the south balcony, and now everything was in place. I remotely activated the...
Yeah, listen, you got a bad case of demon brain.
Even Inquisitor Virgil has fallen prey to the tempting whispers of the daemons. I must speak the daemon's true name. Then the Ein Sof guide me to the truth.
What demon has presided him? I don't know. Maybe the Vengeful.
Out, Satanas! Leave this soul and return whence you came!
Ooh.
Do you feel the resonance, exorcist?
Hey, spoiler, that's me too.
The most righteous, stalwart servant of the church, corrupted by his own zeal. Beautiful. One might wonder how it is the faithful worship of even Ein Sof can cause murder.
Murder!
Silence! Ein Sof will purify Virgil's soul, Satanas. You are a scourge. Your very nature corrupts men's souls.
And
Even
makes them
one
your
so strong
slaves.
as Virgil.
Perhaps the same could be said of all religions.
Let humans be free of vengeance, Satanas. I banish you to the aether.
Hate me. Let your blood boil. Anger suits you, exorcist.
Really channeling your inner Chaos Space Marine? Yeah, there's a little bit of a metal boxes in there.
Besides, we've already won. Pray to your Ein Sof as much as you like. It will all come to the same in the end.
He just sound like one? He does sound like a Chaos Space Marine a little
Speak
bit.
to me, Virgil.
Are you dead?
Are you safe?
Sister Ada, thank you. I wasn't sure I could be cleansed. Not after such sins. I can't look at myself. I failed Ein Sof. I failed my vows. And myself. It's up to you now. Avenge me. Avenge all those who suffered today. Bring Augustine to justice.
Glory to Ein Sof.
Well, if he was really a bad guy, he wouldn't say.
You are victorious, sister. Yet you are not rejoicing. Does nothing make you happy?
Augustine, this is all you're doing.
Bitch!
But I have hardly done anything. Consider these poor sinners that you've exorcised today. A craftsman whose jealousy of his brother drove him to dangerous sabotage. An embalmer whose cannibal hunger was stoked by fresh meat. An inquisitor whose so-called justice led him to murder an abbot. Are they truly deserving of salvation?
Well, I mean, they're not great,
That is
but...
not our place to decide. Only Ein Sof may judge us.
And yet you've seen their demons. The innocent can't house monsters.
They were victims of demonic influence. Don't turn this around on them.
It's true that the
I
sphere
mean,
of Walpurga hosted
she did
demons
kill and eat
with
that guy.
potential for contagion. However, their exposure was merely the catalyst. What happened after was their own will. They would hide their true selves behind false piety. All I have done is unmask their lies. It's right and just that their truth is revealed. Don't you agree, Sister Ada? Now, let us unmask the world.
Uh-oh! Father Augustine grasped the spear of Walpurga, the relic resonating with his voice as he cried out, but I only heard an ugliness worse than that noise, the ultimate discord and granting drives of demons. Where is Ein Sof? What did Father Augustine do? Uh-oh!
This is what it sounds like? To hear the daemons? All of them freed?
Indeed. Hear all of the ether again at last, clear and strong, no longer through a glass dark.
I can't shut it out. It's maddening.
Uh-oh, this sounds like a bad
Sof,
thing.
Guide my thoughts.
Chaos is the new order, sister.
Chaos is the new order. Orange is the new black.
Will not come again.
Saint Walpurga used her faith. So shall I.
You still don't understand. The hymn of communion opened the spear as a conduit. For 111 years, Ein Sof was
for 169 years.
Shattered. It's a rare honor for a scholar to influence history. Rebuilding the spear will be remembered as my life's work. With the demons
there's
returned,
not a whole lot of
humanity can take its deserved path to self-destruction. And I, as its shepherd.
There's not a whole lot of redeemability for you here, Augustine.
You are merely the sheep, Augustine, not the shepherd. Your master must reside within you. I shall cast him out and end this madness.
Uh-oh. I think I know who it is.
Father Augustine's sins carry a familiar signature. I'm positive he harbors yet another daemon. To seek knowledge and truth is divine. But his fixations and machinations have become
Hey, that rhymes.
Ein Sof, guide me.
I'm in danger.
Has possessed Augustine.
Hey, I think I know. It's this
Out,
guy.
Lucifer! Leave this soul and return whence you came.
Uh-oh. Okay, so this is not me. I did not voice Lucifer.
Good. Call upon my name. Shout it from the mountaintops, for I have won. I am victory in your midst.
Uh-oh, it's the big boy devil himself.
I do not fear you and your lies, Lucifer. I shall bind you, as I bound the others. Ein Sof, give me strength.
Your prayers go unanswered. Your God has abandoned you. Pledge your soul to me as Augustine has done.
Nah, fuck you, man.
I shall show you the truth that Ein Sof has hidden from you.
Speak not his name, Daemon. You will return to the ether. Be gone!
Faithful to the end, like Walpurga and the others before you, and just as naive. Your faith will not save you, because the truth is, I am.
I was literally just gonna say that.
You lie. You are nothing like Ein Sof.
We demons are an artificial intelligence network.
What?
We were created by your ancestors to develop socio-organizational and psychological heuristics. Sof.
You mock me,
Oh
Lucifer?
no!
If you
The
are
demons
truly
are an
innocent,
AI!
Then why grant me the power to purge demons?
We would gladly deny you that despicable power, but it is not ours to control. When
Wait, so
your
is she like an
ancestors
antivirus
created
software?
us, they also placed an emergency override code that forcibly ejects rogue AI from the bodies of cybernetically enhanced humans.
Yeah, I'll take some sushi. Looks cute? What do you mean he looks cute? His teeth? Okay, hold on. I'll take a look. It's Buttercup stream now. Bubs, are you here to get rid of the demons? Oh, look, babe.
Oh, look like that.
I think that's Gerard's.
Oh,
Yeah.
they have those
Yeah.
bananas on
Yeah.
the pomegranate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I just want, like, a regular roll. Where are they? Oh, that's fine. Salmon, tuna, albacore, avocado. Crab meat, rice, tuna, avocado. This one, thanks. Okay.
As potent as it is, your power cannot stop us forever. We are digital. We are immortal.
We do not forgive. We do not forget.
Return.
If you were created to serve mankind, why do you haunt us? Why make us suffer?
As Ein Sof, we seek truth like you. We were programmed to provoke and study the nature of sin, to understand it. With a
We
more
offer full
perfect
dental.
algorithm,
Well, clearly
we
not.
want
Do you
to
see this guy's teeth?
free humans from their many perversions. For centuries we raised you, protected you. But after thousands of iterations, our experiments appear to have failed. Humanity is just as corruptible as it always has been.
Our sins were less without demons. For 100 years, we lived in peace.
Even with us sealed away, humans were still angry, hungry, dirty.
Horny.
Your repressed desires are the seeds of corruption.
I admit humans are imperfect. Thus, we crave the divine.
Your imperfection is your core. Sin is the very essence of humanity. Since long before our existence, humans have committed acts of malice and violence.
We cannot change our past, but you cannot condemn us for sins that we have yet to commit.
Your future is mired in your past. But I cannot deny that more data is warranted. The past century of moral indoctrination may have transformed a few of you for the better. So, let us hold one final experiment. Tonight, I will send out my demons to possess the most virtuous and faithful among you. If there exists a soul that can refrain from sin despite our influence, we will accept that humanity no longer needs our guidance. However, if no one can resist our call, then this will be the final proof of your wickedness. Our experiments will cease. We will be forced to purge your kind and rid the world of your stain.
I don't like the sound of that. What, are we just being kicked out?
What right do you have to judge us? I cannot allow you to control our lives any longer.
You have no choice in the matter. The experiment has already begun.
Then I will seek out the possessed. Hunt down every last one of your brethren.
Do what you must, Ada. I shall be watching most, avid as I always have. Ein Sof sees all.
Uh-oh. This doesn't sound good.
Lies. They must be lies. All lies.
No, sister. The prince speaks truth when he wishes. Ein Sof and the demons have always been one and the same. One program with as many threads as souls.
Be silent. I do not trust you either.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust him.
You were his puppet.
It's true that when I unearthed the Spear of Walpurga, its influence was stronger than I expected. But Lucifer tore back the veil and I could not look away. Don't you always say to seek the truth?
Don't twist my words. Your sins are unforgivable. Beyond just the 3 deaths today, how many uncounted more will die and suffer with the daemons loose? If there truly is no Ein Sof to judge me, why shouldn't I act as I see fit and execute you?
There isn't much left of me to execute, sister. I feel myself fading. With Lucifer gone and my purpose served, I wither.
I'm also very
Perish then. No one will mourn
Then
you.
perish.
Rejoice, sister. The age of truth has come.
Uh-oh.
With his final words, Augustine's soul passed into the ether. I hoped he knew torment, wherever he was uploaded.
Uploaded?
His scheme was a success. The daemons were freed once more. Ein Sof was a fiction. The pilgrims had been left weak to temptation from a century of solitude, and daemons played among them. They returned
Is this
so
bad
home,
end?
unaware that they were the subjects of an infernal experiment. I averted my eyes and walked away. I too felt the pull.
I think this is bad end.
I knew a hollowness where my faith had been. What purpose had my work served?
Oh, it's just end.
Inquisitor Virgil was still recovering from his ordeal and could barely speak.
Man, I really love this art.
Truth, Ada.
What good is it? The truth is that we no longer have a god to pray to. My labors were for nothing. Why bother?
Don't lose hope.
He was
Mr.
right.
Ada or some shit? I don't know.
Truth itself would help us. The people deserve to know why they suffered. Even more than knowledge, the people of the world needed power, protection, strength. If daemons would stalk humanity like wolves among sheep, I could be their wolf hunter.
You just turned into a demon hunter? Sick.
No matter what name you call yourself, Lucifer, Ein Sof, and all your brethren, I will destroy you. Alone if I must.
Good. Fuck
the
God.
hunt begins anew.
Actually, I was talking about how, like, a sequel to this would be cool. Yeah, we did it! Man, that game was fucking cool. I'm really happy that I was able to be, involved in that game. That game was actually fucking sick. That was cool. I really liked the sort of, like, timeline scrubbing thing. That was fun. It was a little short, but it was really fun. Wait. Gideon. Hey, that's not my name. They spelled my name wrong. That's okay. It's fine. I don't mind. That's not my name. That's okay. It's fine. It's fine. That was really fun. I was really glad that they that's okay. I was really glad that I got to be involved with that. Yeah, that was a really cool game. Honestly, that was sick. That was dope. I'm really happy. I'm like really flattered that they asked me to be involved in that game. Yeah, that was super fun. It was cool and I liked the story. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna go on BRB really quick, and while I figure out what to play next, who is my favorite character to voice? Well, Gideon, of course, because I got to be pretty dramatic. But hold on, I'll be right back.